So now we need to fix a few minor things in the application, and in fact I have created a list over here. So on the home page, the home component, we need to open the same auth modal, this thing, using the get started button that we have over here. So let's do that, and we just need to do the same thing that we are doing when clicking on this button, which is to copy this on click, or we can shift this thing into a function of its own, but let's just copy it and add it to the get started button over here. If we do that, and now if we click on the button, that's perfect. So that's one thing done on the home page. The other thing is that we need to show some sort of loader. So currently if we try to log in or we try to sign up, and when we click on this button, the request will be successful within the same second. It's pretty fast, and the reason is because we are using the Firebase emulator suite, which is offline. So it is kind of obvious that it would be fast, but when we will be deploying this application, then the request may take some time in order to finish, and during that time we should be showing some sort of sign that the request is under process, like some sort of loader, just to notify the user. So for that, what we can do is inside the the auth modal component, this thing, we can have a state for the loader, and we can show it on the button, something like this, a loader over here. So for that, let's create the state over here, and we can name it as loading and the function to be set loading, and by default it will be false. So we need to use this state to show the loader, and at the same time to disable this button for like till the request is successful, or like till we get the response. So for that, using this state value, let's also import the circular progress, this thing, from the material UI library, because we need to use it within the button. So over here where we have the button, this thing, actually we do have a ternary operator. So what we can do is, well, we can check that we can add in another ternary operator. We can check that if the loading is true, in that case we want to show this circular progress as such. Otherwise we want to do the other stuff, which includes checking the is sign in and showing the relative, like the respective text. So for the time being, I will be setting the state to be true, just to see the like how it looks, and that looks weird. Okay, we can, I guess, reduce the size of this progress about 22 as such. Let's see, and let's also change the color using the color prop, and we can set it to be of white, and that's looking much better, I think. And at the same time we can disable the button using the disabled prop, and using the same loading, like if it is true we need this thing to be disabled, and that's actually looking much better. So yeah, that's what we need to do. That's what we need to show to the user till the request is like till we get the response. So yep, and if I set the loading to be of false, which will be the case initially, that's looking perfect. So yeah, now we just need to use this state within the handle auth function over here. So we need to set the loading to be of true, like as soon as this function is called. And the thing is, we only need to set it as false if there is any error, because if the request is successful, which means like whether the user is trying to sign in or they are trying to register, so when the request is successful, which means the user will be authenticated, and the route guard will push the user to the internal page, which means that we do not need to set it false if the request is successful, but we only need to do that if there is any error. So we just need to set it back to be a false in the catch block over here. So now if we take a look, let's try entering a wrong password. As you can see, we did see that for a split second, for a fraction of a second. And if we try to submit an actual password, we did see that, and we have been pushed to the internal page. So that's great. That's exactly what we want. So yeah, we have kind of finished off two things on the to-do list, and let me just sign in. And now we need to work on the internal page, this thing on which we have this. So